Yes, it is. It's Friday, TGIF to you. It's the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series, and we appreciate you being here today. I'm Steve Casillo, and right over there is Phillip Washington Jr., our financial guru that we bring on every Friday. Say hello to the Mansfieldians.
How's it going, Mansfieldians? You just reminded me of one of my favorite spots to go to in college, TGIF Fridays. So inexpensive for dates.
They got those baby back ribs.
Baby back ribs, yep.
Yes.
I wonder how they really taste relative to my taste buds today. I'm pretty sure they're not as tasty as I remember them to be.
Yeah, there are some alternatives here, especially in the DFW, not especially all over Texas, the barbecue capital of the world.
Yep.
But we are not here to talk about barbecue. We are here to talk about your finances and yours, of course, right there in the camera. Today, again, the mindset of people. We're not calling them excuses today. Continuing his series called Mind Over Money, Rewiring Your Financial Attitude. This would be number nine of the series. And first is not really a mindset. You brought this into your podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. And so we'll start with that. Go ahead.
Yeah. And the question, it came up through a blog post I read, but it's, should I put all of my money inside or outside of the U.S.?
Should I put all of my money? Oh, yeah, it does say in, doesn't it? Outside. Should I put all of my money outside of the U.S.?
Yeah, and it came up because it was, BlackRock and a couple of other notable and big investors were looking to invest, some funds outside the U.S. because the relative returns outside the U.S. look more attractive than the current U.S. over the next decade. Right, which is that's accurate. That's actually an accurate statement from a valuation standpoint. If you look if you are looking at old economy type investments in the old economy type way of doing it, right? So this is kind of a mind over money because it's helping people understand the difference between the mindset of a investor and a mindset of a trader, right?
Yeah.
And some people might say, well, Phillip, BlackRock is not a trader. They're a buy and hold long-term investor. I mean, right, kind of, but a lot of these big firms, what BlackRock was not saying is they're taking all their money out of the U.S. and putting it over there. They're just saying we're going to tilt a little bit outside the U.S. because the U.S. is more expensive, overpriced relative to the emerging markets, right? And so it's important to understand that BlackRock is it's one of the big four funds in the world, right? And so when they're investing, they're not investing for wealth creation, right? They're more like what I call like shuffling assets, like shuffling assets from cheaper to more expensive. And so in the investment world, it might be the difference between like a real estate investor that is taking office property and repurposing it to update it for the world the world is now and create maybe like podcast studios,
sure,
which creates new wealth and new value that never existed before from a new idea, or the real estate investor that's just buying cheap, right, and doing that deal, right? And when I say I'm not judging either deals, but I'm just saying if you look at the richest people in the world, like Elon Musk is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and the most wealthiest hedge fund manager, which is Ray Dalio, who does the shuffling of money.
Yeah.
He's like worth $10-20 billion, which is super respectable. But I'm just saying there's a difference in mindset between a innovator and a money shuffler, right? An investor and a trader.
This being on a grand scale of placing your money outside the U.S., if you were to take it down to a smaller point, this is really diversifying your portfolio.
It's really diversifying your portfolio, right? It's what they're doing, but I'm also bringing in the point that if you stay focused on innovation, right, then crypto, artificial intelligence, gaming, podcasting, which there's stocks that you can buy. Crypto is not even a stock, so you can that's still a great asset class from my perspective, but it still makes the Coinbase, the Spotify's, right? Some of these companies that are innovating. Spotify's not even in the U.S., but I just mean you detach from like a location and you more go on like innovation, and that keeps you focused on like where's the best place to invest for a long-term return perspective, right? Because the location doesn't matter when you're looking at investing for wealth creation, because you're not looking to shuffle assets.
Makes sense to me. Should we get into rewiring your financial attitude?
Let's do rewiring your financial attitude.
I don't want to appear greedy or materialistic by focusing on money.
Yeah. So that I think that's like a I feel like when we are evolving from a poverty consciousness to a wealth consciousness, I feel like we all have to go through it, right? I know, my background, we didn't come from money, right? Even the church we grew up to was very, shame, right? You evil person. This person had to, die to give you life or whatever. It's just a very shameful type. And that's similar when you look at social economics around the world culturally, like a area of poverty has a lot of shame and guilt in the foundation of like the built into the culture around like everything, but specifically money. And so this is something that you have to overcome, because I think it's a mechanism when you don't know how to get it, then you only judge it. And so it's first, in order to get wealth, you first have to overcome like the shame and guilt of like money, because money is neutral. Money is nothing. Like it's not good or bad. It's how it's used and how it's viewed properly, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, you can do it for good purposes. And this question always comes up on social media. If you won the lotto today, which I think the lotto most recently was like $1.2 billion. So if you won the lotto, what would you do with $1 billion? And my go-to answer is always 33%. 33% I'm going to play. 33% I'm going to put to retirement, but 33% I'm going to do something good with that and donate that to charity. And not just necessarily one charity, but I want to create good in the world. And so if it means that I get my name on the side of a building, so be it. But I want to be able to take a portion of my money, my wealth, and be able to donate it. But not everybody's in that position, and especially if you have that mindset of I don't want to appear greedy or materialistic.
Yeah, and I like that you said that. I think that the beauty of wealth is like, when I think about wealth and I convert it from like money, which is just a human-made concept as well, into what it feels like, which is universal across cultures and time. It's freedom, it's security, right? And who doesn't want more freedom and security? And I think I like what you said, like money is, I can do with money whatever I feel like it, judgment free, right? Breaking the mold of that shame and guilt is like judgment free. So like if I won the 1.2 billion, I may or may not give to charity, right? I like the idea of investing in companies because there's more accountability, right? And charity is tougher for accountability. Not saying I won't be open to it, but I'm just saying it can be a scenario where I can give $0 to charity with the 1.2 billion and feel like I've impacted the world and I'm doing what I feel called to do and I'm doing good from my perspective. And I know there'll be judgment from other people, but I just won't give a shit because like this is my life, right? And I think that's freedom. That's the mindset that is necessary to attract and express wealth.
If I win the lotto, I'm headed to the Maldives.
Let's buy the Maldives.
We're going to buy them.
They're like, 1.2 billion. You need to maybe add some zeros to that.
That's right. All right, the next one. I don't have access to financial resources or the tools to make changes.
Yeah, and so I think that's a perspective thing as always, and we need to look at what we do have. I won't repeat the story of the talents, right? Go look it up. But it's like, we all are building from something, right? We all were given some gifts. And I like to think of the mind which is infinite in its capacity to help us get what we want, right? The mind responds to optimistic energy. So if you tell the mind or anybody, man, you only gave me this, what am I supposed to do with this, right? It's figure it out. Like, I'm not giving you more if you're not appreciative of what I already gave you.
Right.
And so I think this is a situation where you're like, all right, what do you have? Let's build on that, because I feel like when I've thought that way, when I've thought thoughts of I don't have this or I don't have that, I have to check myself and go, well, but now you're comparing yourself to this other person that you're coveting, right? So let's bring it back to what you do got, and what do you have that feels like that today? It may be a smaller expression of it, but like at the essence of everything, it's all the same feeling, right? So what do you have that does, and how do you expand that, and then just build on that?
Changing the mindset, one mind at a time.
One mind at a time. I like that. That's a good
It's
t-shirt.
Phillip Washington Jr. And again, your podcast is Wealth Building Made Simple. By the way, I'm going to switch back to the full screen there. I got to make note of your shirt. Healthy marriage is dope.
Yes. It's Healthy Marriage. I think the site is healthymarriageisdope.com.
Oh, okay.
D. Johns and his wife Keisha makes these nice, beautiful shirts. They think they have a podcast. Healthy Marriage is Dope too.
I know that you and Kelly have a healthy marriage. Maria and I think, yes, we have a healthy marriage.
It's a moment to moment thing, right? You're like
it's day to day.
Day to day.
But nonetheless, healthy marriage is dope. I just had to make mention of that shirt, and did not know that. But our friend Derek Johns designed the shirt. Cool. If someone wanted more information about Phillip Washington Jr. and Wealth Building Made Simple or Stonehill Wealth Management, how can they reach out to you?
The podcast is on every major podcast player. wealthbuildingmadesimple.us is the site for the newsletter. StonehillWealthManagement.com is the site for our wealth management services.
We do this every Friday, and which means we'll be back again next week. Phillip, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.